Surprise, surprise, starting the episode off, XC getting worked on. And that's because when I turn this car, it makes horrible grinding noises. I'm not sure if I've got footage of it. But it's essentially, the steering idler arm is just, there's some, I don't know whether you got some dust in it, because it's only happened after my full driving adventure.
Oh yeah, it's a really bloody sick video. You should definitely go check it out, bloody oath.
Ever since I got back, when I turn the steering wheel, especially when I'm going slow or still just trying to back into a parking spot, it just makes some horrible noises, and it's coming from the steering idler arm. So some dust has gotten in between its bushing or something like that, or something's bent, and when I turn it, it puts some undue forces on that arm. So I'm going to take that little arm off, investigate what's going on, and then we'll get into some other repairs. I've got this box of rare spares parts. But first off the rip, this idler arm, let's get into it. Also, while we're under here, it makes a bit of a squeaky noise with the suspension, as you can hear. And it is actually the sway bar rubbing on that part of the chassis, which I'm sure you'll agree is none too good. So my remedy for this is to essentially drop the sway bar link, run these nuts up, run this bottom nut up, and drop the sway bar down a bit. Hopefully that does the jobby. But first, this idler arm here.
Alright, so as you can see here when I pull it off, when I got these parts powder coated, they powder coated the whole thing. So I had to sort of like lightly grind off the powder coat from here, but I didn't take it all off, and that was binding on the bushing. It was almost impossible to turn by hand when I had the idler arm off. So I was like, that's the issue. So sanded it down all the way to bare metal again, put a little bit of grease on the inside of the bush, slapping it back in now. And whilst I'm under there, I'm also adjusting the sway bar. It was very difficult to get the camera in there at the same time as my whole body and maneuver around. As you can see, it's very cramped. So I just kept the camera here and just time-lapsed the whole thing. But essentially what I did was just wound up the nuts on the bottom, wound down the nuts on the top. So it just shortened that link pin for the sway bars and cleared the chassis. Also making the XC handle like an absolute, still like a bucket of shit really. I mean, it improves a little bit, but you can only polish a turd so much.
All right, no more squeaking. Well, some squeaking from everywhere else in the bloody car, but not from the sway. Obviously because I'd put those lowered springs in, and the sway bar was set for the standard springs, which are like bloody 24 inches higher. The sway bar was set quite high, so it was just rubbing on there. So I now have shortened the link pin, making the sway bar tighter and not touching that chassis anymore. So, sway bar is good to go. Idler arm, good to go. Well, I don't know for sure, but might as well test it out now, I guess. No more creaking. Doesn't sound like an old rusted cemetery gate when I turn the car now, which was embarrassing. Quite embarrassing in public trying to park the car and all you could hear is... Alright, I'll see you guys in the morning. Start attacking the boot situation because it's a beautiful sunny day. It's a Monday afternoon, and at the time of recording this, I leave to go on my little adventure in a couple of days, so I'm going to chill out for the rest of the day. I'm not going to take the car apart. I might go grab a drink by the beach. Alright, we're back at it. Here's the boot of the Falcon. Now, it doesn't look too bad at first glance. But check the seal out, mate. The seal's a little bit cookied. Underneath the seal, we find a little bit of rust. So, let's pull this bastard out. Which is very risky because once you start looking, you tend to find more shit and then you regret looking in the first place. So, hopefully we don't regret looking too much. But already here I can see a little bit of rust there. See parts where it's sort of cracking and bubbling up. Doesn't look too bloody fun. However, we are not getting too into it. We're not going to go, all right, the whole boot channel needs to be replaced. I'm not replacing all these sections. I think I might replace that section there that has the big hole in it, and the rest of it, we're going to expose it to steel, rust convert, and cover over with some KBS. While we're at it, we'll suss out these sections of the boot and just generally clean this whole thing up and make it look nice and pretty, as well as the fuel tank. Right, so step one, we're already stuck. To get the tail lights out of the Falcon, you've got, well, I mean, there's already an issue. These little bolts here have a 10mm nut on them. That one's missing. So you see, there's one there, and another here, and over there. All of these nuts, all of the bolts spin with the nut. So the nut is pretty much locked to the thread, and it's just spinning. Now, as you can see, that is the head of said bolt. It is round. And they're all pressed into the plastic. You can kind of see, I wonder if you can see it there, but you can tell it's meant to be pressed into the plastic and it's meant to stay there, but they're all rusted and they've all broken free, so now they just spin freely, which means that taillight is stuck in there, that taillight is stuck in there, and they are not coming out unless I cut the nuts off. We'll just cut the ends off the bolts, essentially. So yeah, I can do that all I want. It's just spinning in its housing, won't come out, which means I can't really do anything with that. To take the rear housing off, this section here, there's screws in there that face that way, which means I can't get to them unless I take it out. This is what I mean when I say you start taking stuff apart and you find more and more things and it just spirals out of control. So if I was going ham, I would cut those nuts off, take the taillights out, and I would have to sort of refasten the taillights to the car. I'm gonna leave the taillights in there and we'll work around them. All right, a little update, Reno. So what started with me just wanting to fix this section here turned into, you know, a bit of rust there. Didn't really mind, I would just convert that. Then over here, it just fell away. So I'm gonna need to replace that section there, pretty much put a whole piece there. I've got steel there, as well as a little hole there and some shit there.
Well, fun fact, I actually sat around for about 30 minutes staring at this thinking whether or not I should actually cut it out and get into it or not, because once I cut it out, I've really got to do it, don't I? Anyways, massive regret.
All right, I've cooked it. I've just spent like an hour trying to make what you'd think is an easy section. It's literally just a piece. Now, I've made a million pieces for this year, repair pieces, but that was when I had the warehouse and had a lot more tools there to make repair sections. I haven't really done too many repair sections here in this little shed, and I've got nothing. So trying to make this piece with no pan brake or metal bender or anything like that, it's bloody impossible. I'm trying to cut straight lines on two sides, and then I'm trying to get a 90-degree bend all along it with nothing but this or the edge of this, but can't get it to that. And I've used a couple of things to try and clamp it to try and get it's not working out. And of course that's happened after I've cut a big bloody hole in the boot. And this is what I was talking about with the project creeping. Should have just left it alone and just rust converted it, but no, I want to try and do it mildly, properly. Anyways, the rest of it's getting bloody rust converted. I'm going to leave that. I'm going to primer that, make sure nothing actually happens to it. Rust convert the rest of it. Thought I'd jump in here. I was going to finish doing the boot. In fact, I was going to do, you know, seals for the windows and doors. I've got a box full of parts there and all these goodies. But then I thought, I'm going away in a couple of days' time. I'll be gone for a bit. I don't want to spend my last couple of days doing rust repairs and messing around with an old car. I just want to drive it. I don't want to spend 6 hours in a day working on it just because of the need to get content out and get an episode out to you guys. So I thought, you know what? No offense, but I don't need to stress myself to get an episode out on the YouTube, and I'm just going to enjoy driving it. I mean, I'm I'm driving it every single day. I'm driving this thing every day. I just took it to the post office to go pick up some packages. So I'm enjoying doing that, spending time with my partner, doing other things. And by the time you see this episode, I'll be gone. I won't be back until probably mid-December. In fact, I won't even have access to the internet until around the start of December. So you're not even going to hear from me. There's going to be no uploads, no nothing. So just so people don't think that I've suddenly died because I'm just, boom, zero contact. That's the reason. I can't tell you guys why. I can tell you guys sometime next year, but I can't tell you guys where I'm going, what I'm doing. Just know I won't see you guys until December. And on top of that, I've got to edit this RS video so I can get that out this Saturday. And then I've got to edit this video to upload it before I go. So I'm not going to work myself to the last second just to get some videos out. So that's all you're getting for a couple of weeks. Like I said, mid-December, I'll be back. But until then, I'll essentially have zero technology. So thank you all for watching. Thanks to all the new subscribers over the past month. Ever since I got the XC, it's been unreal the amount of you guys that have come along for this journey. So I just wanted to thank you guys. But like I said, by the time you guys are watching this, I'm already on my adventure. I'm already out there struggling. So leave me some hate comments to come back to. And I'll see you guys in just over a month's time, ready for some Christmas shenanigans. Stay safe. I'm not going to tell you to subscribe because I'm not going to upload for a month. So I'll see you guys in December. Thank you all so much.